Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and I work with a lot of individuals with attachment wounds. I work predominantly and probably more specifically avoidant attached individuals, both fearful and dismissive, but usually my fearful patients are leaning a little bit dismissive. So that's something to remember. I work with couples as well, and sometimes I do work with anxious preoccupied. I actually work with secure as well. And today I wanted to go over a topic that is really requested. And it is basically understanding if the love that you're experiencing with an avoidant is real or not. A lot of people kind of use the word that their love is fake. So I might use that in the title just because it might be shorter. I'm not sure. I'm not good with titles. But it doesn't mean it is fake. It also is important to recognize if your partner fits a lot of these things. It doesn't mean they don't love you, but it's a possibility they don't. And it's also possible they might not really be avoidant. These are, hard pills to swallow, but I do like to be honest with you guys. Another individual also brought up this, and I'll cover this quickly with a couple other disclaimers and we'll jump into it, is the reason why I use the word patient instead of client. Some therapists do use the word client. I use the word patient because I was trained, I'm a psychodynamic therapist. That's actually where my certification is leaning towards, and my doctorate that I'm still working through, but I'm almost finished there. But it's more psychodynamic leaning, which tend to use the word patient. And the reason why is because the word client can sometimes be misinterpreted. This is just my school of thought. We use medical files. And so when someone uses the word client, it's almost like they're hiring somebody in a way where some things can be negotiated. Like I'm doing something for them, which I'm trying to help them. But if somebody has OCD and they're coming to me and saying, I don't have OCD, I have generalized anxiety, I can't just do what they ask. They're not giving me directions necessarily. It's collaborative, but I feel like it's a lie to some extent if I tell them it's a client relationship, because I'm not doing, it's not goods and services. You're coming to me for a medical diagnostic impression. I put it in your medical file. Like that is non-negotiable, and I don't have to share what I put in that file. Typically I do not. I like to share a diagnosis with patients, but I don't have to. I don't have to do that at all. And my notes are not seen by anybody. And so that's the reason why I use patient. So I'm sorry if that triggers some people. I don't know if I will be changing that just because it's my school of thought. And it's also my belief that client gives a misinterpretation of the services. I'm trying to help you and it's collaborative, but it doesn't mean I'm going to change things and be dishonest with you because it's something you're asking for. I hope that makes sense, and I apologize if that was triggering. I just wanted to explain that. So let's go back into avoidance. If their love is maybe not as genuine, or it's fake, or maybe they're just not in love yet. This does not mean avoidants are doing this on purpose. Some may think this is love until they realize it's denial. So they might not recognize they're in denial of not loving somebody. Other avoidants or people may unfortunately tell themselves that they love somebody to avoid admitting they don't love because it's a wound, or maybe they love someone else, or they're not capable of loving at this time. So that's just something to remember. But it also means if your partner has any of these things, it doesn't mean necessarily that they don't love you. It could. That's the point. I'm saying that it could, but it doesn't mean that it's 100% positive. This is proof 100%. Not at all. Nobody is that cut. Like no one is black and white. Nobody. So please do not fret. It's just something to indicate if this is showing up in your relationship, it's probably better to have a conversation about it, right? Instead of just immediately jump to the conclusion, this means they don't love me. Have a conversation, because it's very likely that if they do love you, they don't understand this is what's coming across, right? So it's really important to recognize this. Again, this could also mean that your partner, if they do fit this, they may not be avoidant. They may be, but it's something to remember. Not a one-size-fits-all approach. And all examples are fictional. They're not my real patients. They may sound real because that's how I conceptualize things, okay? So the first one is the avoidant committed to you very quickly, and then soon after, because it might not even be the avoidant, the person that you think might be avoidant and maybe committed to you very quickly, and then soon after, the attachment and effort significantly decreased and continues to decrease. Typically, when an avoidant cares about somebody, there may not be commitment at all. There may be exclusivity, but not necessarily the verbal commitment. And typically what happens is, while it does decrease at one point, what happens is slowly as the trust builds, the connection continues to grow at a more comfortable level to which both individuals are feeling, okay, there is progress, there is love happening, typically, not all the time, okay? The next one is they came from a relationship just before you. Doesn't always have to be the case, but typically, especially fearful avoidance, they monkey branch. So basically, they're in one relationship, one foot's out the door, and they have another partner on backup, then they drop the first partner and then go to the second one, right? Sometimes what happens is they're still carrying hurt from their previous relationships and they haven't processed it. And so sometimes because they haven't processed it, that's a barrier for them to let anybody else in because they're still carrying a lot of those trust wounds and those issues. And sometimes they're using the relationship to avoid the hurt they are having. So the relationship, it's hard for it to be genuine, the new one, because there's still wounds and things from the previous relationship. Now, this one doesn't necessarily mean they don't love you, but it definitely means there's a lot of barriers that's stopping that love, okay? The next one is making last-minute plans. And now this one's a little tricky because avoidants don't like planning ahead, especially dismissive avoidance. However, extremely last-minute plans could indicate like a disregard for true connection at this time. Because even if avoidants do not like planning ahead, they still, especially if they start opening up, they do still try to plan a little bit in advance because they don't like certain things affecting their schedule. And avoidance, especially when you're important to them, especially long-term relationships, they try to structure you and fit you in their life. That's what they do with everything. They're pretty structured typically. And so if you don't come across as structured, but everything else in their life is structured, it may be a sign, mainly for long-term relationships, that maybe there's some absence of love at this time, or the love is not being corresponded or properly expressed, to which you will feel it, right? You're probably not going to feel very important if this is the behavior that they have, right? The next one is explanations that change frequently. Now, this could be anybody who doesn't care about somebody. It also could mean somebody that's just not thorough and not good with plans. So it doesn't necessarily, none of these have to mean definitively they don't care about you. But explanations that change frequently, maybe they'll say, oh, yesterday I was helping my buddy move, right? And then later you bring up, oh, how was the move? And they're like, oh, maybe they forgot and they change what it is. Oh, no, I fell asleep. Like their explanations change a lot. Or I don't like texting at this certain time because I go to bed early. And then maybe the next one is, oh, I just need to, I play poker that night. It changes a lot, which makes you think, okay, maybe they're just not being genuine. Because avoidance, especially if they care about somebody, they can be honest. Dismissive avoidance especially, but fearful avoidance may struggle with honesty a little bit. But dismissive avoidance, especially when they start trusting you in a long-term relationships and they feel like you're not going to react, they want to be honest with you. So the fact that an individual is avoiding honesty or things are changing, it is something to keep in mind. This is at least something to have a conversation about because it's not normal to build a healthy relationship if things are changing like that. I hope that makes sense. The next one, and this one, it's really unfortunate that some people deal with this, but it's something really to keep in mind. It's only meeting each other at night or for physical intimacy. This person might not even be avoidant if they're doing this all the time. Not every time. Just, take what I say delicately. Nothing I say is 100%. So please take everything I'm saying delicately. I don't mean to hurt you guys, and I'm sorry. Everything is always sometimes, right? Nothing is 100%. With this one, I'm saying this is a possibility that meeting at night might mean that they don't really see you as much important because you're not fit in their life. As I mentioned with the third one, Avoidants tend to structure people into their life if they're important. They structure things. This time I'm going to play with my friends. This is when I'm off work. This time I'm going to decompress. Subconsciously and consciously, they structure. So if you're not structured in their life and it's just like a quick meetup, this may not be an area where, people shouldn't be treated that way. People are more important than that typically. That's how it should be expressed. And so if they're not expressing that properly, there should be a conversation. And it might be that they don't see you as anything more. Just being honest, and I'm sorry. This one. The sixth one is, this is for more long-term relationships. A lot of these are more for long-term relationships. There is no consistency or predictability even after years of being together. All couples, from my perspective, when they really open up to each other, they're able to predict each other a little bit more because they're honest, right? I know, for example, I'm going to give myself an example. I'm not even saying from a couple standpoint, but there are certain places that I have to be. I work in a hybrid situation, so I have some days where I see patients in office and then some days where I see them telehealth, right? So my office is in the city, my house is not. And so there's that drive in between. Anybody who knows me in my life for a long time knows, okay, these are the days, even my patients, these are the days that she's in office. So if I want an office session, those are the days. And these are the days that she has telehealth sessions, right? People know that about me. You will know that just by knowing me a little bit, let alone for a couple years. Every individual has these specific things. If you don't know those things about your partner, there's likely not much communication at all, because every person has some consistency and predictability most of the time. Now, I could be wrong. Remember, take everything I say with a grain of salt. However, it's something to recognize. If things are just back and forth, it may be a sign of dishonesty, or you guys are not fully open with each other, right? Just something to think about. This one is frequent cheating with no intention, of changing after years of being together. Anybody who frequently cheats, they have wounds. So I'm not saying immediately this person is bad, but I'm also not saying stay with a cheater. I'm just giving you education about some of these aspects. But individuals who frequently cheat with no intention of change, there is a likelihood that this relationship that they have, the person they're cheating on, maybe it's not valuable. Maybe they're not getting something out of it. And that could be that they don't feel loved, which could translate to them not loving their partner. And so that's something to recognize. Some avoidants cheat, but I will say a lot of people think avoidants cheat more than I see. At least from my perspective, I don't think avoidants cheat as much as many people think they do. And I think that's a hard pill to swallow. Plenty of avoidants, both male and female avoidants, a lot of them do not cheat. I do see that female avoidants tend to cheat a little bit more, but that doesn't mean all female avoidants cheat. Most avoidants don't cheat, and the reason why is because it's hard for them. I shouldn't say most avoidants don't cheat, but a lot of them do not. A lot of them do not. And the reason why is because it's hard for them to even connect with one person, let alone multiple. Some of them do sabotage the relationship, but that's not that common. They use other tactics to sabotage the relationship. Cheating, they would have to be pushed a very certain way for cheating to be their first version of sabotaging, because avoidants don't tend to like to connect with people in general, and cheating is another person. Rather, they bury themselves in hobbies, bury themselves in work. That's just easier and fits their lifestyle more. So if there is frequent cheating and there's no intention of changing or guilt, that may be a sign that this, whether they love you or not, this relationship might not be healthy. And it is possible that they do not love you and their love is fake or ingenuine, right? So that's just something to recognize, that you guys deserve to be loved and treated properly. I'm never telling you guys that you need to stay any place that you're mistreated. And the last one, I think this might be the most important. After years of being together, if there is no progress on their end, especially if you've made a lot of progress, if you're not the avoidant partner and you have made progress. And some even have made significant progress. And the avoidant individual is just not budging. Maybe even worse, the progress has even decreased, like they're even less connected than before. This may be a very big sign that they have checked out of the relationship. Perhaps there really isn't much love. And this needs to be a conversation. And I don't know how that conversation is going to end or if it's going to be a continuous conversation. But as a couple, progression is really important. It doesn't mean you guys always have to be working every day and there's no relaxation. That's not what I'm saying. But couples, when they love each other, it's very healthy to progress together so you guys can learn more about one another and have a more happier relationship. So if there is no progress and you still feel like you're picking up all the slack, perhaps it's a relationship that may need a conversation. Something to think about. I appreciate you guys watching. Please subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.